Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today we are bringing back the Collecting a Battalion series, and this time we're going to be looking at the new Lumineth Realm-Lords. So the Lumineth Realm-Lords are the spiritual successors to the High Elves from the world that was. Well, at least part of the army is. There are certain aspects that look like that old world Ulthuan style High Elf that we remember from the world that was, but there's also some new elements that are, to say, put it bluntly, have divided opinions upon the release. Personally, I'm a massive fan of everything Lumineth, all parts of it I really enjoy. I like the Age of Sigmar style put into an old aesthetic. It looks really cool in my mind. Now, anyway, so let's talk about what this whole little series here called Collecting a Battalion is all about. Now, we've already done one of these before, and we'll probably have to update that one because the GHB's come out and changed a few of the lists in that, but this one is all about the Lumineth, and so what the idea of this is that a battalion can be a great way to collect an army. And so let's start with what is a War Scroll Battalion. So a War Scroll Battalion is like a special kind of formation comprised of various different units and characters that by taking such a combination will give you access to additional abilities for units inside the War Scroll Battalion while you play the game. This is really cool. It gives you bonuses for taking units that belong together in the narrative. That's always cool in my mind. If it pushes the narrative, it's got my okay. But why collect a battalion? Well, it could be a great way to collect to a theme. As previously mentioned, battalions are generally based around themes within armies, and so they require you to take units that in the narrative would fight alongside each other in particular ways. There are some great examples of this, like particularly the Thunderhead Brotherhood from Stormcast, where you have Liberators building up a shield wall and giving their shield benefits to Judicators who sit behind them. This is a really cool thematic thing that happens in the narrative, and so it's great to see that play out on the tabletop. It also gives you a goal to strive towards, though. Like, filling out a battalion is cool, and especially when you start looking further down the line into like those mega battalions. If you're really wanting to make a whole collection of a particular army, there'd be great ways to fill out and flesh out an army completely and give you a goal to reach. Lastly, though, as mentioned, you get bonuses for playing with those models, and they go together narratively, so you can easily build a narrative and have good rules to go alongside them. So the plan on this is to build an army focusing on the battalion, obviously, and then to thematically build upon the battalion if required. Not all battalions will fill out a 2,000 point army, which is what we're going to be trying to build, and also to have a framework to set an end goal within. So the battalion is the end goal, and the 2,000 point army around it, but you can fully flesh out that battalion, and that can be your true end goal. But let's get cracking into this and look at the Lumineth Realm-Lords, and we'll be looking at the battalions throughout the book. So today we are going to look at the Dawnrider Lance, which is a battalion from the Lumineth Realm-Lords Battletome. So this is a really interesting battalion, as it's one that sort of doesn't have any characters in it, and it's pretty simple to sort of fill out, really. Organisation wise, it's just 2 to 3 units of Venari Dawnriders. These are the cavalry models that you can attain in the Lumineth Realm-Lords range. The abilities you get for this is you can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made with melee weapons by a friendly unit from this battalion that has made a charge move in the same turn. Now, there's probably 2 different builds we can go for with this, of either taking multiple small units or putting all our money into some big units of Venari Dawnriders. For this one, we're going to look at the army list that I've done taking the bigger units, but we might come back to this and look at a smaller build as well. Or it's quite easy, simply split up those units into smaller pieces, because you can just do that, the points won't change at all, so you really have the option to play either way. Anyway, let's get straight into this army list, though. This is a really interesting one, and so we've gone for the subfaction Siar. Reason why we've done this is the subfaction that gives us extra Aether Quartz, and so by doing so we're going to be able to get more out of those big units. There is also the benefit of, like, if you do play the smaller units and choose to take lots of small units instead, then you're still getting a lot out of all this taking Siar. Just because you're going to get more Aether Quartz throughout the army. However, I do think those Aether Quartz spending tokens really come into their own when you use them on big blocks because they just have more effect. And so being able to take 2 and make those units of big Venari Dawnriders do more stuff twice is really good. We've not got the command trait or the artifacts or any of that in the army, mainly because we don't have any other characters outside of Archmage Teclis and Selenar, the Spirit of Haish. This is the only leader we've got in the army, and the reason why we've got him in there is just because Teclis, once again, is just so good. I really struggle to write Lumineth lists that don't have this guy in them. Now, you can play without Teclis, but I think in this list particular, he does really well as he's fast enough to keep up with your Dawnriders. He can be buffing and doing lots of spell sort of stuff around them. Now, for battle line, to make sure this list is actually going to be legal, we have had to take 2 units of Venari Wardens. Now, the reason why we've had to take 2 is because we have to take 1 to make a unit of Dawnriders battle line. So even if we want to make 2 units of Dawnriders battle line, we need to take 2, thus 4. And so, yeah, you need to take 2 units of Wardens in the army. We've given both units of Wardens the Speed of Haish spell. This is so they can have that little bit of extra movement and get to where they need to late game or early game setup plans. And then we've chosen to make, or chosen I should say, to make the 2 units of 15 Venari Dawnriders battle line. This actually will become apparent because there are some scenarios that favour battle line units, and so we've chosen to give them the Ethereal Blessing spell. This is so if they get onto a point really early and want to hold that point, they can do this and make themselves ethereal. And then we've got the other unit of 10 Venari Dawnriders, which becomes an other unit. So this is important to remember that 1 unit of Venari Dawnriders you have in this list with this build will be an other unit. Now, this is the one I would potentially think about splitting up, but however, there's an interesting way on how the split up works for this army. If you are going to split, I would probably recommend almost taking a double battalion. So you're going to lose 5 Venari Dawnriders, but you're going to be able to split your units up and get the benefits for everything still. It's probably important that you're making sure you're taking enough battalions to make sure all your Dawnriders get the benefit. Now, Dawnriders are really cool, so the battalion further pushes their own potential abilities because the battalion gives them reroll once to hit for attacks, as mentioned, and when they charge, and this ability works when they charge. So the Dawnriders have an innate ability when their lances get better when they charge to get some rend and wound better as well. So they're 3s and 3s, rend 1, damage 1. Now, another cool thing with this too is you have the Furrows ability. So this is probably the most thematic cavalry ability in the game. They get +1 attack to all melee profiles, so this includes the mount, the horse. If they're fighting against a unit with 2 wounds or less, or if they're fighting against a unit with 1 wound, they get an extra 2 attacks. So they can be like 6 attacks each, which can be amazing, especially when you consider they have sun metal weapons which do mortal wounds on 6s. And obviously if they cast the own Power of Haish spell, they mortal wounds on 5s. Being able to reroll 1s, this can become quite powerful. Obviously, the battalion-wise, we've taken the Dawnrider Lance. We've also chosen to take the other spell, Umbral Spell Portal. Why? Because this combined with Teclis, everyone knows this trick. Like, his spell through a spell portal is horrendously good. So it's just an easy combo there. So this army all up comes to a total of 2,000 points. We're going to get an extra command point because we're taking the battalion and no allies, but we've got a nice 116 wounds. It's worth remembering that Venari Dawnriders are a 30 wound block to actually get through on a quite decent armor save. I mean, they're going to actually take some chewing through, and hence why we've chosen to give them the ethereal spell, because, you know, a 4-up save ethereal, they're going to be surviving pretty well, especially with Teclis around potentially doing his protection of Teclis, giving them a 5-up ward save as well. But I'd like to know what you think of this list. This is definitely one of the battalions that I'm actually most excited for in the army. I really do like the Dawnrider models. I like the idea of a cavalry army. It's really cool. But let us know what you think in the comments down below and leave some ideas with some different lists with Lumineth. I'd like to potentially go back and look at all these battalions and do army lists without Teclis in them to see how we can go, and probably build some sub-faction specific, so rather than looking at the battalions as the core of the army, we're looking at the sub-factions. Anyway, though, let us know what you think down in the comments below. So I hope you enjoyed this video talking about the battalions from Lumineth Realm-Lords. If you did, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Every subscription means the world to us here at Cinderful Gaming. And also, while you're at it, you might want to jump down in the links in the description. You can find our Twitch channel, which you should definitely go follow and help us hit 50 followers nice and quick. Also, you can find links to our Discord channel where you can come chat with me and other members of the community. And you'll find the link to our Patreon where you can choose to support the channel in other ways. And lastly, a special thank you to all our Patreon supporters, our Sinful Guard Militia, Christian Weir, Siren, Philip Ward and Cowspawn. You guys are fantastic. And our Sinful Free Guild Regiment member, James, thank you very much. That's all from us today, though. Stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey.